Yo, yo, yo. What is good? In the Box Live, episode 24. Hot mic. Didn't even know we were on. It's alright. Can you guys try talking a little bit? I don't know if they're getting audio. I don't see anything from desktop audio. Why is it not capturing the audio from the desktop? Can you guys try talking and tell me if you could hear yourselves on the YouTubes? There, but do you guys hear yourselves or no? Oh, Dan, you can't do Discord, right, Dan? You don't like Discord? Ah, let me. Your voice is going through. Everybody's. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Uh, Okay. Fantastic. Because it doesn't show that there's desktop audio going through, but I guess it's going through. I don't know why this is. Okay. All right. I'm trying to see if maybe it's some type of a filter I have on here. No. Um, Dan, if possible, are you able to try to download Discord? Or you could probably just use it web-based. I think you could use it web-based. True. I didn't know it was not gonna. I don't know why it's not capturing audio from Chrome. Alrighty, guys, give me just a moment while I get this figured out. For some reason, it's not capturing the audio from. Hello? Hello? Yeah, yeah. Trying to see if I have a setting wrong, but it seems like I got everything right on here. Capture mode. But there's no audio. So weird. Property. Oh, hold on. Oh, how about now? I think I figured it out.
Hello, hello,
I think
hello.
I figured it out. Yeah, it should be going through now, guys. We're live.
Can anyone hear Dookie? Can you hear me?
But there's no. Okay, yeah, it should be going. It should be good now. Dan,
Yeah,
are you still
I
here?
could.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, and we could see you as well.
Okay, I'll try to have Discord installed for next time though.
No problem. No, that's fine.
How
I
about
think I
now?
figured it out.
I think I figured it out. Hello, hello.
Hey. Okay, we're live.
All right, cool. So, in the box live 24. We got Inside Out. We got Dookie Love. We got Daniel Krawitz. Gonna talk about the theory of money. I don't know if you guys are seeing. We were kind of looking at some of the riot stuff going on. Smoke and scan. Do you have any? Have you looked into this whole riot thing, Dan? Have you seen what's been going on? Do you have any opinion on it?
Oh man, I mean, I don't know. I just try to focus on Bitcoin because everything that happens here is good.
Yes.
But I mean, the riots are just what you would expect from shutting down the economy for a few months. Keep people get mad.
That's what I would have thought would have caused up maybe a riot was like, you know, the whole lockdown, everything like that. But I guess it's in regards to that cop murdering allegedly that dude by putting his
Yeah, but
knee on his neck.
everybody's just mad. Like everybody's having a really bad time in the whole world.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, there was that murder that set it off, but in a different time, people might not have
reacted the same
gotten
way.
so up in arms over it.
That does
But
make
I
sense.
mean, but I do want to prevent cops murdering people. That would be I'm for that. But
That would be a plus.
I do not agree with rioting as a response.
I definitely agree with that because now you're just attacking small business owners, big business owners, whatever the case is, that had
And th-
nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
to me, I can help out with things when people are willing to uh, consistently avoid violence, and I don't think you can have like to me that right now it's kind of a situation that I can't really help with.
But you can help with Bitcoin.
Yeah,
How's everything been going along? How's Boost Pow coming along, buddy?
well, thanks for asking. It's just really hard to do. We've been focusing on Bitcoin files, which is a
.org.
service for uploading files to the blockchain. That's kind of like Dropbox, and that's kind of the uh, the biggest. That's just kind of our best prospect for now. So I've been working on the integration with the mining pool, and Attila is setting up a test environment for the mining pool, so I'll be able to check on whether what I've done has worked. And once that's all set, then I'll be focusing on getting the website working better and developer tools and stuff like that. And the other thing that has happened is there's a scandal now
hmm
with
I
with
knew
Met
this would come up.
with with Metanet ICU,
Ooh,
hmm
which
I see.
is a community that I don't think is very good. And I think that Metanet has a poorly designed business model, which will necessarily result in a toxic community. And I think that's what's happened. Well, so recently it's come out that they were collecting very sensitive data from users. They were collecting their ID documents like passports and things, and not storing them securely.
Oh,
And
that's
so
pretty
some of
shitty.
these, yeah,
Like
so
you
some of
just
these,
click a link and you get everybody's info.
yeah,
One
so
link, right?
there was a public folder accessible to anyone via the web that contained a bunch of scans of passports and things. And then Joel tried to hush the whole thing instead of informing people properly. So, I mean, I think that uh, the users of Metanet ICU are being abused, and Joel Delay. He wants to be in a position of trust without actually being trustworthy at all. And so I see this as an opportunity for Boost because with Boost, we do things differently. We don't have to have uh, we don't have to check people out so much, and um, we don't have to be suspicious of each other so much with Boost, and we don't have to uh, we don't have to worry about having a verified identity so much. People can have pseudonyms, and when and we don't have to have a closed community with Boost. We just say that in
Right.
order to talk, you have to have proof of work, and that means that everybody has to think about what they say before they say it. And if you're not saying something that's worthwhile, then um, then you're you're just hurting yourself.
Right. And so that people at home know, when you see CSW chatting, that is usually on metanet.icu, right? That
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
group.
believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, and there's no way to prove that that stuff is real. So it could just be somebody
Pretending.
taking screenshots and yeah, changing the text or something like that.
Mm-hmm. I know. I went there to because I heard that's where you find this stuff, and then I seen you had to sign up and pay for it and all that shit.
Hey,
Yeah, well,
I'm
yeah,
good. I'm good.
that's I think that that's I mean, it's not a real service as far as I'm concerned because what you're paying for is the other customers. So you can't really sell that.
Andre's gone. Yeah, yeah. I didn't understand it,
Yeah,
and then
so well, let me see if I can find um an explanation from somebody from Bitsco, one of the programmers. I'm sorry, I'm searching for a tweet now that here we go. Um, so Bitsco said Craig left the open and unmoderated chat room I established after repeated trolling by Peter Razoon. I asked Joel to lead a moderated channel. Craig offered to pay the thing. We all at the time thought it better each person paid. So the mistake here is that they they want people to prove that they're invested in order to be part of the community.
hmm
But the problem with that is payments need to be for services rendered. So if you if you like you can't just make people pay to uh to get them invested. You have to provide a service if somebody pays. And so that's to me that's what's wrong with Metanet ICU is that you have to pay for nothing. And um they want people to be invested um because they don't want people to just sort of cheaply uh get in and be trolls,
Right.
right? But if you pay, you have to get a service for that. You can't just tell people to pay just so that they become invested. What
There should be a
happens then?
gallery. You should be able to at least get on there and see the chat.
Yeah, well, what happens? What happens if people pay for something and don't get anything? Is they, well, either they're unhappy or they get cognitive dissonance. And so I think that people who say that Metanet ICU is great all have cognitive dissonance because they were they they paid to get nothing basically. They paid to get something that cannot be provided by Metanet ICU, which is a community. And because the way that you create cognitive dissonance is you get somebody to invest in something that that isn't good. So that's that's what that's what you get if you make everybody pay for something that when they're not
hmm
getting anything. So so I see Metanet ICU as kind of a community where everybody is telling each other that they're smarter than everyone else, and that's really the only draw is that you get to believe you're better if you join.
Maybe it's another cult inside the cult.
Well, yeah, I mean that is what it is. It's another
Yeah.
crypto cult. It's just like Mircea Popescu's group.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're the elite, but really they've been tricked. They've been tricked into buying a non service.
So you think that people will stick with it since he didn't come out and like announce that they had been breached or that or that I don't
Well,
know their
I'm
data was out there basically.
well, I would like to keep talking about this because I would like people
No.
to realize that the service is not good.
Hmm.
So the customers have been they've had their trust uh, breached, and
For sure.
So not only their
and
data, but their trust as well. And
well, I
passports?
mean, Joel put himself in a position of trust in relation to the customers, but he has not acted like someone who is trustworthy. He's acted like someone who is putting important user data in public folders that anybody can access via the web without authentication. So, um, so,
Yeah,
uh,
that doesn't sound very good.
so what I'm doing will result in a good community, or so I claim. Uh, but we can all anyway. If you're sick of what's going on in Metanet ICU, you should check out boostpow.com and see if you can build something with that. Um,
Daniel's Kool-Aid tastes way better,
yeah,
for sure.
Dookie, I
yeah.
think somebody
Well,
joined the room. Are you able to admit them? Because if I go over to the Chrome window, it'll freeze the screen share,
Is
screen
that what that
capture.
ding is?
Yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Just go to where it says participants, and then hit. Uh, it should say admit. I don't even know who it is. I can't leave OBS or else it'll screw it up. On the actual meeting that we're in. Yeah, you know I'm legend at screwing shit up, right?
Animal. I
yeah.
found
Oh
it.
snap!
Animal. Animal vision. All right.
So
That's
Hello.
that's
passports.
our boy there.
What up? Oh, and he's driving on the go.
You know, I heard a rumor has it that some Lord Bitcoin feller is gonna be on here talking about
Emperor,
Australian economics.
Yeah.
Bitcoin Emperor.
Australian.
No, that's what Craig believes in.
Oh, it's a different thing, huh?
Andres is
Yeah.
gone again. I keep thinking Andres is getting looted or something.
He probably is.
Hey,
But
Animal, how's it going?
It's good, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
I am
Uh,
I'm on the go. I'm not in my typical setup here. I'm in a Burke's outlet parking lot. So it is what it is.
is it safe out there?
For now,
No curfew.
our no curfew. Our protest actually begins at 11 a.m. tomorrow, though, and from what I've seen on the flyers, the path that the march is going to take is going to walk right in front of my music studio. So
We're gonna
that's
film
fun.
it.
I am actually. I'm probably going to go out there and go live in the morning. Actually, my initial thought right now is what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get up early and get a couple coolers, fill them up with a bunch of waters, and just hand it out to the police and the protesters alike. Just kind of be out there in support of everything.
That's
So,
what's up. Put an in the
You know,
box thing on it.
that's
That
what
would
I
be
think
sounds
I'm
cool.
gonna
nice.
do.
That would be cool.
Hand out
Yeah,
waters.
because I mean, the fact of the matter is our protest here in the county has actually been about halfway organized by the police. I mean, there was like a talk, like somebody made a flyer, and then like immediately our police department jumped on it and was like, look, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna shut down these streets. Here's the path you're gonna take. They're gonna put buses at the end of the route to get people back to their cars. So the police have actually been like, they've done exactly what they needed to do here in the county. So it's been good.
Yeah, this thing's been
It
cool.
doesn't look
We
like
only see this on the news. We don't see any of this around here.
oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, the news is
I
just
did
there
have to go
report
into the
bad
city
news.
today, right where they were rioting in Kansas City.
Phew.
Did
no
anybody
one
else
was
get
down
the alert? They put us on a lockdown yesterday. They gave us a curfew from mandatory curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. in Miami-Dade County.
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
we don't have one.
yeah, we don't have one either.
Yeah, we're
I'll
locked
tell you
down.
what
Nope.
though, it's cool. I'll tell you what, it's quiet out tonight though. I'm just driving around. I kind of had to escape the house. I'm in a weird situation. I pulled an Andre and did something really stupid, and so now I'm biting the bullet for it.
Yeah.
Heard, heard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I pulled something stupid again yesterday too. I got into an argument with my old lady about this whole riot thing, and I don't even. I think that's it. Republicans and
Oh
Demo.
shit.
Yeah, Republican and Democrat relationship done.
That's tough, dude. Especially right now.
Yeah.
I just want to add, uh, I've heard so many people talk about losing friends in the past week because of this shit.
Oh my gosh, dude. I know.
I really
I
didn't
can't
even
It's
know
even
like
what
get
was
on
going on
social
until
media
yesterday.
besides Twitch.
I did not
yeah,
know what was going on until
same.
yesterday, and I found out from my old lady. She was like, "Yeah, that whole thing that's going on." Because I saw I've been watching YouTube, obviously, so I saw random things, but I never clicked on the riot
How
thing.
do you
I just,
not see this, Andre?
I haven't been paying attention to the
Andre don't
world.
even look out his door to see the
No,
shit going
no.
Yeah,
on
they're
right
burning
out in
down
his
his
front
neighbor's
yard.
house.
Yeah, probably. They're probably out here riding right now. I don't even fucking know.
Dude, I guarantee you they out riding, dude. Straight up,
Dude, I have
right now.
no clue. So then I was talking to my chick,
I
and she was,
actually sort of thought you might be a part of it in a
"Fuck
way. I didn't know
no,
if you were gonna get out there.
fuck
Yeah.
no,
You
dude."
better not even go on your porch. I've seen people just standing on their porch getting
Oh
shot by
yeah,
rubber
yeah,
bullets and
yeah. I
stuff,
saw
man.
that
Yeah, I
too.
saw
Oh
a
my god,
reporter
yeah, I
getting
saw
shot
that.
by rubber bullets.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I
Yeah.
sort of got in a fight with on a guy on Facebook. You know, and it's one of those things where right now, no matter what opinion you have, somebody's gonna freaking hate you, and
Yeah.
it's not like, oh, your opinion's different, no big deal. It's like, fuck you, everybody,
Yeah.
delete this guy. You
Pick
know,
a side. Everybody has to pick a side. And this is
pick a
why
side.
I've just got rid
It's
of social media completely. I ain't even been on Twitch that much lately.
Um,
it's scary,
well,
dude.
Just
let
sick
me
of
let me
hearing
say something about that
everybody's
real quick,
opinions.
because when you both the Democrats and Republicans are both cults, and
Totally.
I agree.
when when everyone starts using Boost, we just won't have the two-party system anymore, because
There you go.
you can't consistently wall off your mind from information, because the best strategy is to read the top n posts, whatever they are. So instead of only looking for Democrat information or Republican information, your best strategy is always just to read the top 10 boosted posts, or however much you want to get through.
Right.
Yeah, fuck
And
a mail-in ballot. Let's do a boost-in ballot.
yeah,
Ooh.
well, so people
Who's
will have
candidates?
to engage with different ideas, and there's no it becomes much worse if you try to avoid doing that, because the top boosted, it's hard to explore different ideas when there isn't a very good way of discerning what's important. If you're a Republican and you want to figure out what Democrats think, or the other way around, now that'll be really difficult, and you'll end up reading lots of things that are that it'll just take you a very long time before you get a very good idea of what the other side thinks. Whereas when we use Boost, you'll always know what the most important things are, and it won't be difficult to explore different ideas. And so it's a lot worse if you don't want to do that anymore.
And quick
Well,
question: has there been any major updates lately on Boost? Is the difficulty level still set at 40? Anything you want to talk about it in
Yeah, no,
regards to what's been going on?
I don't have anything new to report. I mean, it's just that it uh it's just that I've had to work on it mostly by myself recently, and it needs a little bit more focus. My company has been mostly focused on other things recently, but Yeah, I mean, I really want to get it going, but it's hard to uh, it's hard to find. So, well, first of all, we do have other things that we have to do just to stay viable as a company, but it's hard to find people who can work with me on it because there's kind of a lot of knowledge that's required, and there aren't very many people who know about Bitcoin and who are good programmers. But recently, I have found a couple of people who I think I can work with, so we might be able to bang out something a
Would you
little
get
bit better
GeoHot?
than what we have now.
Would you get GeoHot?
Excuse me?
Did you finally get GeoHot? George Hot? What's George Hots? The
Oh,
programmer
I
we were
don't know who
talking about
that
not too
is.
I
long
think
ago.
he's talking about me.
Yeah, it's this amazing
Just say when,
programmer. We
Daniel. I'll
talked
be
about
there.
him a couple weeks ago, and you were like, "No, I think that's a little too much out there." He's this amazing
N-
programmer. He's been in the hacking community
uh,
for years and years and years. He's the one that jailbroke the PS3.
Oh, yeah. No, that's just not. I mean, he probably has better things to do. But I found. I mean, I
What?
found a couple of good people who I think can help me and are able to do the kind of work that we need. But yeah, I mean, once we're able to have high difficulties and once we're able to make the website work a little bit better, then it'll be much easier for more people to um, sort of use it and adapt it into their apps. Right now, there's kind of a an understanding. There's a quite a big learning curve for it, so we need to make it easier for people, and this, there's just a lot to do, unfortunately.
But it'll be
Yeah.
You
you'll get there you'll get there soon enough.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to tell people about the idea as much as possible because really, like, if if I do my part and get high difficulties working, and somebody else who's able to understand it and develop with it makes their own chat app or something, uh, then things would go a lot quicker. So I'm really excited to see what happens with Retro Twitch, as he's using Joshua Hensley is using Boost for that,
Yep.
and so he's been very helpful because he's provided a lot of feedback on features and just kind of like tweaking what we have now. Uh, and yeah, it's good to have customer interaction to learn about like what
I'm
somebody
meant to.
thinks is important.
I'm really glad you brought that up because I meant to ask you something about that. So I know that, like you said, Josh Hisley is running Boost on RetroTwitch. So is that something that he got from the Twitch SDK, or did he have to contact you directly to implement that, or how did that work exactly?
The Twitch SDK is for making Twitch transactions, and he got the Boost API and
I see.
library from the Matterpool site, and he just put those together to make.
Got you.
what was
That's
the
kind of what I
name of that
guessed.
cat you did the podcast with recently, Daniel?
The Oh, you mean my cat?
No, what was the name of the guy? The guy. Shout out to your cat though,
I
for
love
sure.
this
Oh,
guy.
you mean
God,
Jimmy Lose?
Jimmy. Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy never lose.
What
He's
do you think about him lately?
well, he's an amusing character, like many Bitcoiners.
Why does he
Has
think he's being like shadow banned by Twitch? I don't understand it.
Well, he had a couple of twitches that are not being displayed
He didn't
because,
though. He
well,
didn't because he don't hit the refresh button.
there's
Because he doesn't know how to use Twitch.
Am I wrong here? Because
no,
they're on
he
here.
had no, there he made a couple of twitches that are not being displayed on Twitch.
Okay.
And
Oh,
how does that
I'll buy
happen?
you
Is
that.
that like
find
a
them.
bug or is
You
that a glitch or
No,
No,
well
it's
he
because
exposed Metanet, didn't he?
Well, it's because the Twitch lawyer said not to show it.
Okay,
So
Ooh,
um,
that's
but
spicy.
it's
that's a
still on the
spicy
blockchain.
meatball.
Yeah,
But it's still on chain.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah,
Well,
Nice.
that's the
that's
cool
the
thing
point.
about posting to the chain, right? Because if somebody like Twitch, if the Twitch lawyer decides, hey, that information shouldn't be displayed on Twitch, people can still see it on the chain, right?
yeah. Yeah, and he was exposing the data breach in
Here's Joel
Metanet
here.
ICU,
This
but
right here.
he did it in a way that um that made other people worried.
Oh,
But I am not a lawyer, so I cannot say exactly whether that was illegal or not.
Oh, this is in the box, man. What happened to your space here, man? Just drop the bomb.
Yeah, and what are you talking about? YouTube is. Never mind. I'll shut up.
so
Yeah, come on, man. Shh.
So there's some chats that he recorded where he that reveal that Joel Delay wasn't telling people properly about the data breach. He-
Yeah, during one of them podcasts that he was filming, he was writing these twetches right here, and he's like, "See, they're not showing up," and he was getting all pissed off about it, and then he did it again. He's like, "It's still not there," and I'm like, "Just hit the
so
damn refresh button,
so
man."
hold on, what as soon as he posted it, it was deleted? Like he couldn't even post it, or
He kept saying they weren't showing up, but if you
yeah, I
know,
think
if you
that
use
sounds
Twitch
like he
enough,
just didn't refresh it
yes,
properly.
that's all that was happening. Then I go check out his site, and I'm like, "They're right there. What's he tripping about?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
he didn't.
look at this good-looking feller. Yeah.
Well, well. Anyway, I did the podcast with him because this is well, I think this is an important issue, and it's also self-serving because I want to talk about why Metanet ICU is poorly designed relative to what I'm working on, which is well designed. So if you want good communities, you should use what I'm doing.
so you're the better cult, right?
Yes, I
He's
am
got the better Kool-Aid,
I'm the
man.
I'm the best cult leader in Bitcoin.
The
I
Best
cult of personality right
I
flavor
there.
out
I will
there.
concur with that.
Yes.
I'll concur with that for sure.
Yeah. Remember, if you can become a cult leader at almost no cost, you might as well do it. But other than that, you shouldn't because cult members aren't very valuable. So
Have
it's
you
not
guys
really.
watched Waco?
They're
Waco is
actually
great. You guys got to
very
watch it.
disposable from what I've seen, right?
Yeah,
Well, it
exactly.
depends. It depends on how extreme you go. I think that
Hoodie,
uh,
purple Nikes, and some Kool-Aid. That's pretty fucking extreme, right?
Oh,
yeah,
that's right.
that's the most extreme kind of cult you can have. But there are many groups that are considered cults, and most of them people don't just kill each other, but there is a lot of self-sacrifice in maybe a lesser degree. Like people do a lot of work for no pay or something like that.
That sounds almost illegal,
You
right?
go over this for us?
Sounds almost what?
Is would that be considered slavery, or they're agreeing to it, so it's not? How does that work?
Yeah, it's
Can they
not.
sue?
Yeah, it's volunteer. It's well, yeah. I mean, many groups get people to volunteer to work all the time without getting paid very much. But if they are being physically kept on the property, then that's slavery. But I think that's less common.
So if they're held
You're
against their
talking about
if they're held against their
psychological
will, I guess, huh?
slavery.
We're looking
Yeah.
for interns on in the box. Pay is nothing. We will not hold you against your will.
Yeah.
Just ask Inside Out. He knows.
It's this is the most important thing that you can do with your life. So you might as well devote your life to promoting in the box Twitchcast
For
and
sure.
working for him.
Better believe it, buddy.
for
Yeah,
free,
You better
basically.
believe
there's
it.
pretty much no other
That's what I've
reason
been
to
trying
live.
to tell
And
everybody.
if you do that, you're better than other people.
Correct.
I like that.
I've
That's how
been putting
cult.
out PSAs.
That's how they work. You
And
just
I
tell
will,
people that they're superior if they do whatever you say.
and you must take a vow of you must take a vow of celibacy, and I will take the burden of sex upon myself for all of you.
I will take the punishment, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly,
So,
exactly. You just
Yeah.
take all those dirty thoughts out of your mind and just devote your mind strictly to in the box, and I'll take care of the rest for all of you.
Yeah,
no,
you're free of independent decision making.
Yep.
yeah. Let us think for you.
Yeah. Let us take away that burden.
So Dan, tell me a little bit about this theory of money that you've been wanting to talk about, because you just said theory of
Okay,
money, and
well,
I'm very interested in it.
I'm gonna share my screen now, and we'll get the
Get the juices flowing.
what happened to the screen share?
Take your time. It's all right.
There it is. Oh, there we go.
All right.
Okay, can you
You are
see this?
viewing Daniel's screen. Yes.
Yes.
What is the price of money?
Okay, Austrian theory of money. That's what we're doing. Not just well,
Different than
we're
Australian.
yeah, not yeah, yeah. Australian economics is what Craig believes in, but that we're not doing that here.
What's this?
Um, so I've received some criticism for doing Austrian economics. So I'll just say a little bit about that. To me, in my opinion, the Austrians have done things correctly and they understand economics, and the other schools don't understand economics as well. And the reason I talk about this kind of stuff is to make Bitcoin more valuable. So to me, it's kind of wasting time if I go over all of the other theories of money. To me, what we need to talk about is the Austrian theory of money. And if we're talking about like what mainstream economists think, that's kind of like talking about the phlogiston theory when we should be talking about physics. And of course, they'll say the same thing about me, but whatever. This is what I think is correct, and I'll be happy to talk about other versions of economics, but you have to bring them up with me. Like if you want me to do a debate or something, and you get another economist on, or a discussion, not necessarily a debate, that'll be fine. But if I'm just talking by myself, we'll talk about Austrian stuff, and the
Sounds good.
rest I think is not very good. And it is also it's your responsibility to understand the truth. So I'm telling you what I think is the truth, but you have to like it. I'm not going to help you investigate other schools of economics very much because I think they're doing things wrong. But if you want
They're
to
fake news.
figure out for yourself what's right, you have to investigate them yourself. But I think if you do, you'll realize that um, you were learning a lot more when you were doing Austrian economics. So here's my bibliography. These are some books I recommend for learning this stuff. Karl Menger, Principles of Economics, Ludwig von Mises, Economic Calculation in the Socialist Commonwealth. And you need to learn the economic calculation socialist stuff because that's actually important. That's part of the theory of money. I don't think you fully understand money without that stuff. So theory of money and credit, human action, and bureaucracy. Murray Rothbard, Man, Economy, and State, and Jesus Huerta de Soto, Money, Bank Credit, and Economic Cycles, Socialism, Economic Calculation, and Entrepreneurship. And if there's one book that you want to read just to get started, I would recommend Man, Economy, and State. And I think you get pretty much everything from that. Um, but all of these other books are really good and important. So, definition of money. Money is the general medium of exchange, the thing that all other goods and services are traded for, the final payment for such goods on the market. Now, what you notice about this is, by this definition, nothing today is money, because there's lots of different goods that are used as a medium of exchange in a limited context, like within uh, one nation, and there isn't a general medium of exchange. Uh, and another important thing about this definition is money. Money isn't money because of the thing in itself, because of the good itself that we use as money. A good is money because of how we think about it. So money is a game theoretic focal point, which is also called a Schelling point. And what that means is the the history of the good has uh, has resulted in a difference in the way that we treat it. And so initially, there may be many goods that can theoretically be used as money, but you can't predict which one will become money. If, say, if they're all in an equal position, and the market will choose one as money, and um, when that happens, it will be treated differently from the other potential monies, because people will think of it as money and they'll use it as money. But money is money because of how we think about the good, not because of what it is. And so the win condition for the game we're playing is to make Bitcoin into money, um, meaning that it is the general medium of exchange and the final payment for the world economy. And to me, if you're not doing that, you're not maximizing the value of Bitcoin. And why would you have Bitcoin if you don't want to maximize value? So maybe you don't have very much, so you don't care that much about it. But if to me, if you're not maximizing value, you're acting against your own investment. So why would you want to do that? So this is a thing for Austrian economics in general that we need to talk about, and that's prices are future oriented. So prices are always based on expectations, and people bid prices because of what they think they're going to get in the future. So prices are not determined by things in the past, such as the cost of goods. They're determined, well, they are prices result from the way people are thinking about what they're going to get from goods in the future. So prices are future expectations, and the market is like a game. And when you make a bid on a good and you offer to pay a certain price, that's like making a move in the game and maximizing the value of the good has to do with what what you're going to get out of it versus what you pay for it. So so price versus value. Value is what you get out of the good ultimately in the future. So it's why you want the good, whereas price is what you pay for it. And in the long term, uh, as people interact in the market, prices approach value. Um, in other words, or I should say the the way people the prices approach the real opportunity cost of goods. So if if people get more benefit out of a good versus what other things they could get from what they're paying for it, then they'll bid the price up until until it's not so much better than everything else. Um, so um, so I wrote this in there. The price of Bitcoin means nothing other than that other people expect success, because a lot of people in Bitcoin seem to think that if the price of one of these crypto coins gets high, that's success. Well, it's only success if you're planning to sell out and escape. It's not success. It's not success if you actually are trying to turn one of these coins into money. It's just expectation of success. So people in BTC seem to think that they're very successful when really all that's going on is they're all expecting success a lot. And those are two different things. um, so the price of money. Now, when we have money, a general medium of exchange, there isn't. By the way, you guys can interrupt me at any time if you have questions, but
Yeah.
hopefully that's all pretty obvious so far. So when we have money, a general medium of exchange, there isn't a price of money. The money is just how we report all prices. So the price of money is just one, right? Because it's
Unit.
one money unit per money unit. But um, that's so. Um, but there is um, there is a phenomenon in the market that's sort of like a price of money that's important to understand, because the value of the all money can change in relation to the value of all goods. So uh, if people decide to save more and spend less, then the value of money relative to everything else gets bigger. So there is uh, that's important because there's a big difference in an economy that has a high savings rate versus one that has a low savings rate. And well, spoiler alert, the difference is um, the degree to which people are future oriented. So if people save more, that means they're thinking about the future more. And so if we have if we spend a few years thinking a lot about the future, in other words, with people saving a lot, eventually what we have is an economy that is very, very productive, that has that has a uh, a lot of machines where everything is designed to produce things uh, over long periods of time. So everything we buy was sort of started being produced a long time ago, and everything we're starting to produce now takes a long time before it's ready. And what happens then is there's a much greater efficiency, and much more gets produced because there's more production that's allocated uh, toward higher order capital goods. So, of course, in mainstream economics, people think that savings is bad and they want to encourage people to spend and not save. And that means that the economy is more present oriented.
Okay.
So the economy kind of falls apart more if people are more present oriented because they're
So we
thinking about the
need
future
people to
less.
save as well. We need people to think about the
Well,
future as well. Is what you're saying.
yeah,
If
well,
there's
I
only
mean, I
people
think,
thinking, if
yeah,
everybody's only thinking in the present, that wouldn't be good. You need us some people thinking about the future, I guess.
yeah, right. Well, yeah, well, it's better if everybody's thinking about the future, but yeah, hopefully somebody is at least.
So not
And
100% hodl, save some, but spend as well, right? I mean, it's not save everything, right?
yeah, so what save, I mean, well, yeah, well, what I'm talking about is not it's not never spend, which doesn't make any sense.
Correct.
It's really like how much do you spend in relation to how much do you want to save? And if everybody wants to save more, what happens is the prices of all goods go down. So it just takes less money to buy the same
That's
stuff.
like a supply and demand
And
thing, right?
yeah, and that makes sense because just because people don't want to spend as much doesn't mean that there are fewer goods, right? It just the way that the prices adjust is that everything costs less. So what ultimately happens is people don't get less. It's just that all of the prices are lower and there's more people are putting uh, the relative value of the money to the goods is greater. And
So
after a
if
long time
everybody
of that, then,
starts, if everybody stops twitching for a day, do you think twitches will go down to a penny?
I don't know. You would have to ask Coin Yeezy that, but
Mhm.
I'm not sure if that would happen. That
So
Twitch might.
I didn't want to interrupt you, Daniel, but I feel like I should say this. So I just had the reason I went on mute and turned my video off for so long was because I was sitting in the parking lot of my studio, just sitting talking to you guys, and a cop rolled in, wanted to have a word with me.
Oh yeah, what did he say?
Nothing. He was actually a really nice guy. Just was kind of like, asking what was up, what I was doing out here. Just kind of sitting here, and I was like, look, this is my business. I needed to get out of the house. So I drove down here to take a phone call kind of thing and ended up being really nice and talked to him a little bit about the little demonstration that's supposed to be going down tomorrow here in town. And he seemed to not be too concerned about it. So it was overall a good interaction.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice.
Yeah. I actually can't blame him for being on high alert right now. Some random dude sitting in a parking lot. I mean, I really don't blame him.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean,
I
well,
mean,
yeah. I
even though
mean,
it is my business, but
glad
he
to
don't know.
hear he didn't try to choke you under his nose.
Yes, that's very good.
He didn't neck you, bro.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually kind of nice though, like if somebody else had been sitting randomly in my business parking lot,
Yeah.
I'm,
But
assuming he would have talked to them too. So it's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay, well, so next, another important concept in Austrian economics is time. And basically, what you need to know about that is waiting for something isn't as good as having it now.
and I think we talked about this in the past before, where you were talking about this is where you kind of disagreed with Craig, right? Something that he said in regards to future goods or something
no,
of that nature.
No, I disagree with him on the definition of money.
Okay.
Because Craig said that, let's see, I used the same definition last time. Craig said that a uh, a promise to pay later is money,
Correct.
whereas I
Yes,
said that
that's yes.
what ultimately gets paid later is money. And in this case, we were both talking about bitcoins, so there really isn't that a difference, but there's a difference in what he thinks of as money according to that article. Um, yeah, but that was really interesting because I was kind of surprised that he would say that.
It's almost like a
Uh,
credit card, right? You put money, you charge the card, right? They don't have the money until you pay it, right? Would that be kind of
Right.
like a comparison?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was kind of like he was saying that credit is money.
Yes.
And but if you yeah, if you uh pay with a credit card, what uh what is you you create a promise to pay later, and then eventually it gets cleared with your bank, and then the dollars get uh paid later on, and then you pay the credit card company after that, right?
Correct. But the
um
credit card company, just because you charge on their card, doesn't get money until you actually make that final payment, which is kind of what you were saying,
yeah,
right? Like it's not money until they get paid because I could charge up the card, never pay it, and then they didn't make any money, right? Am I understanding that correct? I
yeah,
just want to make sure.
right, yeah. And also, if you see on in these science fiction programs, they often have they often say that credits are their unit in science fiction. That all of those people in science fiction are being scammed because they're paying with credit. um so types of goods. So now we're going to put these ideas together about imputation of value, and I'm just going to give you some examples. Imputation of value and time. I'm going to put those together, and I'm going to give some examples. So consumer good, that's an easy one. Consumer good is good because of it's just consuming it is good. That's kind of the idea. So you go to a restaurant and you buy a sandwich. You know the good of the sandwich is just eating it, and you can pretty much so there isn't a big problem with valuing the sandwich because you can pretty much look at it and tell whether it's any good, and if that's not good enough, you can figure it out with the first bite. Um, so with consumer goods, uh, valuing with prices is not very difficult. Oh, and well, you have to compare to what other sandwiches are being offered at. But this idea that value is imputed over the future, it's not a very distant future for consumer goods. It's pretty much the near future. Whereas a capital good takes several steps, one or more extra steps before before we get to something that's just inherently good. So a capital good is a good that is used to produce other goods. And these other goods may also be capital goods, or they can be consumer goods. And in order to value a capital good, you have to think ahead to the the consumer goods that ultimately gets produced with it, and that can be several steps ahead. So it becomes a lot more difficult to guess at the value now. And capital goods are consumed in the process of production. So a capital good can be like raw materials, or it can be like a machine that is used in a production process. And both of these get used up, but um, it might take longer for a machine to get used up than raw materials to get used up. But conceptually, they're both capital goods.
Makes sense.
And capital goods earn interest based on what uh, they earn interest, which in equilibrium, I should have said, is based on what eventually will be produced with it. So when you buy a capital good and you produce other goods with it, and you sell those and then replace the capital good, um, you have some money extra from doing that, and that's called interest. Um, it's called interest if you make the same amount that everybody else does from doing that. Um, but if you make more than everybody else, then the extra is profit, and if you make less, the difference is loss.
I've been hearing from
But
a lot of people that profits are bad.
well,
Wouldn't that make you a profiteer?
yeah. Um, well, yeah, we'll get to that. Well, let's do another spoiler alert. Well, I mean, I say profits are the reward for superior planning. So you get a profit if you have a better idea about what to do with capital goods than other people do. So you earn more than they did. And what you do when you earn a profit is you open up a new production process. So you start doing something that you can keep doing forever, that wasn't being done before. So you when you profit, you do something new, and other people can are able to imitate that. So profits have to do with initiating new production, not like it could be like inventing something totally new or just using existing goods in a slightly different way that's a little more efficient. Um, but profits are about doing something new, because if other people knew about what you did, they would have already done it, and you wouldn't be able to make a profit with it.
Do you think there's a reason that
And
people
it's
don't
really,
understand that without profits, there would be no new technology, there would be no new businesses, there would be, I mean, what would be the point of opening a business if you cannot profit?
yeah, I yeah, people are just crazy. Listen, like literally people are just crazy when it comes to economics. It's just like everyone in the world is just acting crazy.
I
That
agree.
I mean, I don't have a really good psychological explanation for this, because to me, we should I mean, there's jealousy and there's envy, because of
Haters,
course I I would want to profit the most, if I could. And if somebody figured out how to make a lot more than me, I might have preferred that that was me, you know what I mean? But
of course.
really, like we're all better off if everybody can profit, and we're better off from other people profiting because they're they're teaching us how to produce things that we didn't know. So really we should want that, and we should be happy about people who profited. And uh, enviousness is not a very good reason to try to stop that. But uh,
Some people take it
somehow
to
psychology gets in the way. Well, this is why we can't have nice things.
that. Yeah, that's
And there's also there's parasites in our society, also, and they depend on lies being believed about economics. So we have inflation, and we have um, well, that's a good example, but there's lots of government regulation, and then there's lots of people living off the government. And uh, I mean, there's regular welfare, and then there's like corporate welfare, and then there's people who have jobs doing things for the government that actually aren't very useful. And all of these people need to justify themselves in various ways. So I think the inflationists are the worst, because they're basically saying that they're helping people by taking out of the economy for not doing any work, and they make everybody less future oriented too. And then they want everybody to thank them for it and treat them like they're geniuses for understanding economics better than
uh,
everybody else.
Inflation,
But uh,
bad.
yeah, people tell lies about economics in order to not have to get a real job. I think.
Kind of sounds like Karl Marx.
Yeah. Yes, he's my favorite economist.
Yeah.
Kind of kind of sounds like John Priest or whatever his name is.
I don't know who that is. Who is that?
It's that that guy that created Twitch.
Oh,
What?
John Purdy.
J-
Oh,
Jeffrey
is that his new name?
Pergantis,
I thought he was he's not Elon Moist anymore.
George Papadopoulos.
What happened was River was I think River was interviewing him and she completely messed his name up, or we were talking with her and she completely chopped his name up. So we just
No, no,
what?
it came from Daniel.
Oh, it did come
Remember, he
from that.
was like,
Oh,
"Who's
that's
Josh
right.
Petty?"
Yes, yes, yes.
No, but I didn't make up a different name. I've just forgot his name.
Yeah,
Right, I know, but that's where it came from. Just so
yeah.
you know.
Oh, okay. No, he's
Like
just
Josh Petty, who's that guy?
he's just Elon Moist.
Moisty.
That's one of my
that's what-
favorite things. I just want to point out that's one of my favorite things that's ever happened on In the Box is when you
Who's
were like, "Who's this
Joshua?
Josh Petty guy?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
That made my
that's-
day. It made my life.
Okay, well, I think you just if you go out in public a lot, you just have to get used to being embarrassed by things like that. But that was pretty embarrassing. So anyway, so capital goods. So those are just practice. Now we're talking about money. So money is not consumed, and the value of money is everything that you can buy with it across your entire time horizon. So capital goods are consumed, and money is not. So money has a farther out future as far as determining the value than other goods because it doesn't wear out. So when you're thinking about the value of money, it's really just how far you want to think about the future. There aren't any other limits, and so I have a little. This doesn't look very. This doesn't look quite the way that I was expecting it to. Let's see if I can. I just changed the resolution. Okay, there we go. So I did this because it represents thinking about farther out times. So if you want to think about what is the value of money, you can think about spend today on something or spend tomorrow on something or spend the day after tomorrow. You have to think about all of these possibilities in order to value money. Uh, and there's strategic reasons why you might want to not spend today and spend tomorrow instead. And you have to think about all of that before you can think about the value.
For example, like thinking
So
about
if we're
sales
thinking,
or items going on clearance or something like that, or I really want this item today, but I know if I
yeah,
wait a little bit longer, I could get it half the price, right?
exactly. Yeah, money is for a rainy day. And so, well, a bad thing can happen to you that may um, you need to respond to that quickly. But it could also be a good thing where things go on sale. So yeah, so savings are about responding to new information. And if you don't have cash when something important happens, then that's not as good. So when when we're talking about increasing the value of Bitcoin, the way that we do that is by creating an unbounded future in which goods are being produced in exchange for it. So it's not about what's being produced for Bitcoin today. It's really about what what's being produced for Bitcoin in the infinite future or whatever the limit of your time horizon is. So that's this is another thing that I disagreed with in the Craig Wright article that we talked about last time, because he said that money is uh, compared. He compared the supply of money to all other goods in the economy at the same time. But what I think matters is comparing money to all goods that will be produced in the future. And what's available today is only a small part of that. And that's important because if we want to make Bitcoin more valuable, it's not I say it really isn't just about stuff being produced today. It's about production processes that are sustainable, that don't just stop tomorrow, right? So a big well, we you jumped the gun on this because you figured out the answer before I got to it. But there's an important question about the value of money,
Damn it,
which is
Andres.
yeah,
I didn't mean to be
which
a
is
genius, dude. I'm sorry.
yeah, which is why hold money when you can hold capital goods? Because if you have a capital good, you earn interest off of it, whereas if you have money, you're not earning anything off of it.
Now, when
And
you and I'm sorry to interrupt you. When you say you're earning interest, is that equivalent to profit? Am I don't know if I'm getting confused. What do you mean by if you're holding a capital
no,
good, you gain interest?
no, interest is what you get in equilibrium from having capital goods. So if you buy a capital good and you produce stuff with it uh, and sell it and then replace the capital good, you have some that's left over in equilibrium, and that has to do with the fact that uh, it took it took time to earn it. So theoretically in
Okay.
equilibrium, this extra amount should be equal, or it should approach what you would have got if you had lent the money out at the interest rate.
That makes sense.
Um,
Okay, now I'm following now.
and and profit is what you get above that amount. So if you do better than everybody else, than what everybody else would have got with the interest rate, then that's profit, and
Oh,
that's just how Austrians define it.
okay,
If you get
that does make sense.
lower than that, yeah.
So
So,
just
but
because you're making a little bit of money, as long as it's equivalent to the interest, then it's not really profit. You're just gaining interest. Now, once you make more than what you would have made on interest, then it's profit. I'm following.
right, and the reason Austrians define it that way is um, because the different it's a different reward. So if you earn interest, you're being rewarded for uh, having uh, a a longer time horizon. So you're willing to uh, you're you're willing to take delayed gratification, and people who are willing to do that earn interest. And if people get more willing to delay gratification, then the interest rate goes down. Um, and if people are less willing to delay gratification, then it goes up. So the interest rate is a separate price that exists in equilibrium. Whereas if you earn profit, so something more than interest, that's a reward for superior planning. Well, planning, it's well, I mean, yeah, it's a reward for superior planning. So if you earn profits, you're a good long-term planner, and if you just earn interest, you're good at delayed gratification.
I like that. That makes sense.
So, okay, so but why do we hold money? Why do we have why do we hold cash when we could hold capital goods and earn interest? And so um, uh, this is important because we want to make Bitcoin more valuable. So We have to figure out why somebody would want to hold Bitcoin rather than something else. And we can't just pump it. We have to give people rational reasons for it. So, what makes money better than capital goods that earn interest when money doesn't? But we already gave the answer, and that is that if you have capital goods, then you're invested and you're not able to respond to new information as easily. So I just made this kind of choice here because we were talking about spend money today, spend tomorrow, etc.
Hmm.
But we could say spend today or spend tomorrow, or why not spend today on capital goods and earn interest, then buy this stuff tomorrow and have some left over? Well, the answer is that there's new information all the time, and you're missing opportunity if you don't have cash. So you don't normally want to become 100% invested in interest bearing assets. So when we're talking about, so that in investment, there's a big difference between stocks and bonds. But when I'm talking about capital goods, I'm basically putting those both together in one thing. But they're both interest-bearing assets. Um, a bond is a loan that earns interest, whereas a stock earns dividends. Uh, but from the perspective of what we're talking about today, they're both the same thing, and they both earn interest. And if you buy too much of that, then you can't take advantage of new opportunity. So the correct allocation uh, balances uh, it balances your ability to respond to new information with income. And so that's not a very easy thing to do, but if you want to maximize your portfolio, that's what you have to do. So there's a thing in Austrian economics called the evenly rotating economy, and that's an equilibrium model. And so one of the results is there's no money in the evenly rotating economy, and everybody is able to plan ahead so well. Well, evenly rotating, that just means that everybody does exactly the same thing every day, and exactly the same production processes happen over and over and over. And if that happens, everybody can plan perfectly, so they can always uh, replace any cash in their portfolios with an interest-bearing asset. So in that equilibrium, there's no money, and everybody. It's kind of like there's a perfect barter system, and money doesn't do any better than barter system because there's perfect knowledge. So when there's new information coming in, then people need money. And if you've got cash in your portfolio, you're ready for anything, and you're first in line to start something new. Excuse me. So review: capital goods are for earning income, money in your portfolio, savings, and I put that in there because my definition of savings is just your cash balance. So
Okay.
if not, that's not your whole net worth. Your savings is just what you have in cash. Um, for taking advantage of opportunity. So if we want to make Bitcoin more valuable, there has to be new opportunities forever in Bitcoin. We make Bitcoin more valuable today by making new opportunities forever in Bitcoin. So too much capital goods and you're too committed, you lose opportunities you can't take advantage of. Too much cash and you lose because your income is lower than it could have been. So then inflation, we already talked about that a bit. So increase in the money supply.
Yep.
Inflationary monies are less good at preparing for opportunity in the far off future, because farther off futures mean you've got less of the total than if you've got a non-inflationary money. So people don't want to think about the future as much when we've got an inflationary money.
And
So
can we go
those
back up
inflators are doing,
a little bit more up, just right there where it said if you're too committed. So that basically means if you're putting all your money in capital goods and you don't have cash on hand
right.
to invest into something
Yeah,
else at the time, so another capital good or whatever the case is, you're losing out essentially. So you want to try to find a balance
yeah,
between capital goods and uh, and your actual savings, right? Your cash.
right. Yeah. 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 If you're like the perfect investor, you're doing everything at the same time and you're finding the perfect balance between everything. Um, so I think that's kind of I think that's kind of an interesting problem. And yeah, your cash is like being free, being open, and your capital goods are being committed to something that's earning. So that's like your capital good is like your job, and cash is like you're looking for a job,
Okay.
and you're just doing both at the same time and getting the most out of both. So the back to inflation, the inflators are all really doing us a big favor. We already joked about this, but
Yeah.
they're making everybody not want to think about the future, and they're also taking out of the economy without doing any work. So great economists there, the inflationists.
But you always hear that you always hear that inflation. I mean, at least from what I've heard, inflation is bad. Hyperinflation is extremely bad. How are they trying to spin it with that inflation thing? I mean, I don't. How, how does the spin come on that?
Well, Keynes said that. Um, I mean, I can't explain Keynes without making him sound like a scam artist, because I mean, I think that that's what the book says. I think that his book actually says that we need to trick the working class into not realizing that their wages are going down. So um,
So inflation
when
does that because you're making more money, but everything keeps rising in cost as well, right? So the cost is going higher than your actual wage. So, like you said, are you losing money? Am I understanding that correct?
yeah, so Keynes said that inflating the money supply drives the economy, and it makes things it boosts the economy. It makes because it makes people spend more, and then all of the shopkeepers are happy because they're earning more, but they're earning inflated money. So why
Yeah.
is that good? They're just scammed. Like they're not getting something as good as what they would have gotten. It's just that they're
It's
not
almost like an
responding to the
illusion. It's
inflation.
almost like a trick, right? It's trickery, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like if all of a sudden I start making 25,000 a week, right? But then a loaf
yeah,
of bread costs me 3, 4 grand, right? It's like, oh, I'm making 25,000 as compared to 2,500, right?
yeah,
But back then
yeah.
a
No,
loaf
yeah.
of bread
It's
cost
a
me
total.
$5. Now it's costing me a quarter of my paycheck. How do people not realize
Yeah.
that? I don't.
Uh,
That's crazy.
I don't know.
That
It's
is insane. That
crazy.
is insane.
Yeah, you mean, yeah, I mean,
Like, look at
yeah,
countries like
I think,
Zimbabwe. Don't they have like $100 trillion bill or something like that? Isn't that like a
yeah,
good thing to look at as far as inflation?
yeah. Well, um, well,
Or Satoshis.
yeah. Lots of people think that small amounts of inflation is good for something. and there's this delicate balance. I mean, the the economists in the Federal Reserve are just like the core developers in BTC, because they all say that Bitcoin is very delicate and they need everybody needs them to make sure every little thing is working perfectly, but really they're making the system unstable and they're making it into something that needs constant adjustments. Um, so they're and they're they're
Quantitative tightening and easing and all this mumbo jumbo and the
yeah,
Fed,
so
dude.
they're presenting themselves as experts that are doing really important work when really they're just screwing everything up and they're
Yeah.
making everything a lot worse. And they're expecting to be treated like geniuses for it. So we already talked
It's
about this.
crazy.
This is profits. But now we're going to talk a little bit about profit and loss. So now remember what I was saying before, which is that we make money more valuable by having production processes. So we have stuff to buy over the infinite future, not just stuff to buy today. Well, that's what results when you earn profit. Because remember, I said when you earn profit, you initiate a new production process.
Correct. And
So
also that you were a
this
superior
is
planner, etc. Right?
right. Yeah. So this is why I say that money is a way for a group of people to invest in each other. And to me, that's what's great about money. And that's why money eliminates the war of all against all. It makes people want to cooperate and it makes people, well, when they're thinking about it, we talked about this earlier too. We talked about envy and how people they don't want other people to profit more than them. But that's a really bad way of doing things. But if you have money, that means you're better off when other people profit. And that just kind of makes sense. Like they're getting more money, right? So that's like bidding up the price of money. So your money is worth more. And the reason they can do that sustainably is they're they're profiting. They're initiating new production. So um, if you have cash, what you want is for other people to profit. And so that's to me, that's great. That's sort of like a cooperative system where everybody wants everybody else to do the best they can. And um, and uh, I don't know. To me, that seems like a really great thing. And I like that better than fighting with other people.
Yeah. I mean, I think it.
But that's just me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, again, I don't understand how people get so upset about people trying to make a living, especially if they're good at it. Like, why, instead of, like you said, being envious, why don't you work on something and try to be better and try to profit more instead of being envious or saying, you're a bad person because you profit.
Yeah, yeah. And instead, you could just try to get as much savings as you can if other people are profiting. 'Cause then your money gets more valuable.
Correct. And then they
To
might
me,
have
it's
to
it's a
put their
fun.
price down, right? Like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really great cooperative game where everybody wins. But I mean, the people who don't win are the ones who always want to be the greatest person, no matter what. They don't get to win because they're probably not the greatest at making profit. But that's not a very good definition of winning, because when everybody's profiting, everybody is better off. Whereas if you only want to be the greatest, that actually means that you could be worse off. And like you want to make everybody worse off as long as you make yourself worse off the least. So that's not a good way of doing things. So now socialism. So Ludwig von Mises defined socialism as collective ownership of the capital goods. And what that implies is that there's not a market for capital goods. And what that means is there isn't profit, and there isn't a profit and loss system. So there aren't people being rewarded for superior planning. And the way that I state that is I'd say without money there is no definition of efficiency. The profit and loss gives us a definition of what what's better and what's more efficient. And when we have a socialist economy, we don't know. So there isn't a process in socialism that converges on something better. So when we do collective ownership, everything just gets worse. But people still want it a lot for some reason. So now we're going to talk about competing currencies. And the way I state this is I say each coin is a cooperative unit because each proto money is a different profit and loss system, and it's a different system in which prices are quoted, and there's a difference between which money is your unit of profit seeking. So which what are you trying to get more of when you're performing your economic activity, whatever it is you do? What are you trying to get more of? That's the economy that you're helping. Um, and Profit seeking in Bitcoin does not mean that you never take payments in fiat, but what it means is that you're not you're not done until you sell that fiat for Bitcoin. So the money is like safety, and whatever you're doing to make money, that's like risk. So when you have fiat, that's still risk on, and when you go back to Bitcoin, that's risk off. That's if you think about it that way, then you're profit seeking in Bitcoin, and you're helping the Bitcoin economy. And uh, because each money is a different definition of efficiency, uh, each of these coin economies is competitive, and they don't work very well together because they don't have a common definition of efficiency. So uh, when we have all of these altcoins, we have a competitive game, and I would say, well, it's better to just have one definition of efficiency because that lets everybody work together. So that's better. So what I say is that ultimately one coin wins because that's the that's the most that's the most valuable option. That's the one that enables people to gain the most value out of each other, is if we just have one money. So when we have a bunch of different monies, we have a Highlander contest, which means that you have to just kill all the rest. There can be only one. If you haven't seen the movie, it's kind of interesting.
Believe it or not,
But
I haven't,
um,
and I'm probably gonna get shamed for that. I'm gonna have to watch it.
oh, okay. Well, I don't think it's a great movie, but it's kind of fun, I
How about
guess.
if I told you I haven't
But
seen
and it's
2001: Space Odyssey either?
oh well, yeah, you should see that one.
Yeah, I think
that's
I'm
a,
gonna
that's
watch
a
that
really good
tonight.
one. Oh, okay. Have fun. Yeah. So and also, yeah, if you're not profit seeking in Bitcoin, you don't actually think about it as money. And to me, what are you even doing here if you don't think of Bitcoin as money? To me, the goal of what we should be doing in Bitcoin is make Bitcoin into money. So kind of the first thing you have to be doing is you think about Bitcoin as money, even if it's not money yet. You have to think about it that way. And if you're not doing that, why are you here? And so people who are profit seeking in dollars are actually um, they're parasites on the Bitcoin economy. That's what I think. And uh, if they're just coming into Bitcoin so that they can sell out with more dollars later, then they're not they're not really helping the economy grow. And we need to focus on people who are who want to grow the economy.
I'm pretty
So
excited about
almost
this part.
done. What?
I'm pretty excited about this part. I like the title Origin of Money. I've never looked into the
Oh, okay.
origin of money.
Okay. Well, Austrian economists have a theoretical origin of money. So this is about how before there is a money good, how does one of them start to be used as money? So what, as we said, money is how people think about the good, not the thing in itself. So how does a non-money become money? So in Austrian economics, we have this thing called the regression theorem. And what that basically says is that a good that becomes money must have a reason to hold it first before it can be used as a medium of exchange. So, for example, gold is a store of value. Well, it can be used as a store of value without the idea that it's going to be a means of payment eventually. But once people start storing gold, then they can start thinking about payments too, because other people want gold, and so they might just ask for gold for something. Whereas uh, before, if people are not using gold as a store of value, then there isn't any reason to ask it for it as payment. So the Bitcoin is kind of a weird case, uh, or it's an unusual kind of idea. I think that I'm going to say I think that Mises actually got something a little bit incorrect with the
Oh
regression theorem.
snap! Let's hear it.
Because what Mises said is that a good, you have to have a reason to hold the good before it can be a medium of exchange. And what he said is the reason to hold it has to be something unrelated to using it as money. And I think that Bitcoin proved the last part wrong. And I think Bitcoin, well, Mises didn't know about proof of work, which to me solves the problem here. Because if you don't, because if like if a good is going to become money, um, and there isn't uh, a reason to start holding it before it becomes money for some other reason, why would you think that other people are acquiring it? Like you kind of have to know that other people are acquiring a good in order to think about using it as money. So what Mises said is that people have to be acquiring a good for some other reason before they'll start to think about using it as a medium of exchange. But Bitcoin is different because of the internet and because of the ability for people to send messages to one another and send them all around the world, and because of proof of work, which creates a message that has an opportunity cost that's visible in it that everybody can see. So Bitcoin is connected to a signal that's visible to everybody in the world. And Mises wasn't thinking about that when he came up with the regression theorem. So I think that the first thing I said about it is true, is that a good that becomes money must have a reason to hold it first, because that makes sense, because you have to acquire the money before you can spend it. And only if you do that is it a medium of exchange. If something is a medium of exchange, you have to get it first. Um, but uh, because of proof of work, people can see that other people are acquiring Bitcoin. And because you're producing proof of work to acquire initial Bitcoins, you also know that other people are going to be able to see that. So I think that with Bitcoin, the initial value can just be the future expectation of using it as a medium of exchange. And the reason Mises didn't think about that is that he wasn't thinking about money that's connected to a signal that everybody in the world can see. But that's what Bitcoin is. So when people start acquiring Bitcoin, they also know that other people are acquiring Bitcoin, and they know that they are showing to other people that they're acquiring Bitcoin. And because of the proof of work, you can, um, you know that you can spend Bitcoin to buy energy, because you can look at how much energy people are spending to get it, and um, you can um, you can offer a better rate, and then you could get that energy. Maybe you don't know who any of these initial Bitcoin hoarders are, but theoretically, you can spend Bitcoin on energy just from looking at the proof of work. So, so there's a big, so there's a big difference between Bitcoin and previous forms of money because of this public blockchain thing that we've got with Bitcoin, and that that changes how people interact with Bitcoin, um, eh, more than what people had previously thought money was capable of. So Bitcoin is a proto money, like gold or the dollar or any of the other proto monies around, but it's also got different properties that's more than just money. So maybe next time we can do introduction to Bitcoin. And I know I said I was going to do that a few weeks ago, but
I'm dying for
the
that one. I really
the
want to hear about
theory of
that.
money topic is so the theory of money topic is so big. It's good we just did that one today.
I really enjoyed this so far. It's been amazing. I learned a
Okay,
lot so
well
far
that's
for sure.
that's the end. There's no more left. So glad you enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, it's been yeah, this was great.
Game over, dude.
Yeah.
Do we respawn now?
Yeah, that was good, man. I've just been
Well,
taking
yeah.
all that
Thanks.
in.
Thanks for inviting me. I don't have anything more, so I'll stop screen sharing. But I'll hang around.
For sure. You want to look at a
Oops. No.
couple twitches? I think Cooler can't pronounce the name, dude. We bragged on him so hard for his name. I think we're gonna do another art contest, Animal. That art contest that you did so well. You remember that guy that we were making fun of
Yeah,
his name? He's been really active.
yeah, like
Coolery.
Colorado Radio or whatever. Yeah,
Yes, Colorado Radio. Colorado Radio
or whatever.
Arts, yeah, wants to do another art contest. He actually did slash pay 2180. So that
Nice.
2180 is going to be the initial money that's going in there, and we'll match it. So it's going to be 4360. If I'm doing my math right to start off the contest,
Yeah,
and
yeah, all right.
we'll probably work on that if you got time overnight and tomorrow, and then tomorrow we'll just announce it live, and we'll make out a nice twitch.
Yeah, that
So
sounds awesome.
for anybody that's watching right now, you guys have a little bit of an advance, and you know there is another in the box art contest coming up. The last one was extremely successful, and they made a good point. It brought a lot of new artists. A lot of great art came out of that. A lot of original stuff, and yeah, are you guys down to do that? Another little art contest?
Oh yeah, man, that sounds fun. I'm down for that.
I'm down too. So the
We can
for
definitely.
for anybody watching right now, the original the starting pot is going to be 43.60, and then we'll figure out how we're going to divide it between first, second, third place, whatever the case is. I guess we do like last time. And then anybody that
Yeah, I think last time worked pretty well.
yeah, and then what we could do is anybody that uh actually puts an entry in, maybe we'll do like $2.18 for anybody that actually just enters the contest. I think that'll get a lot of extra entries going in there. Been thinking about
Yeah.
it for a few hours, but I know you did it so well that last time. I'm just thinking of ideas. I'm gonna throw them at you, and then we'll put it together.
Yeah, I like adding per entry. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah. If we give everybody
And we
two
should
dollars
say
and 18 cents per
we should
entry,
do
we're gonna go.
every. We should say every person that enters. You know what I'm saying? Not every entry.
Yeah,
Just so that you don't have every
yeah.
somebody
We got one.
posting 30 times and draining our wallets.
Yeah, the rules are not set yet, guys. So tomorrow or the
Yeah,
day
we'll work
after,
out that.
we'll have some official rules on it and put out a dope art contest. I hope Matt Oblasto joins, because that freaking Jack Dorsey clown that she did, I would have definitely
Oh
voted
yeah.
first for that. I would have definitely left a like on that if that was an entry. I was thinking maybe we do like something in the box specific. Have I say we do like kind of maybe like a theme to it. That way, people have to do something new instead of putting in older art that they might have had from like months ago or whatever the case is. So I think we should maybe come up with like some type of a. Am I saying that right? A theme? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking that too. 'Cause we were kind of strict about the non-digital thing
Yeah.
last time too. I'd almost like to like call out a medium, right? Or like I don't know. I think that we should have some kind of guideline.
I'm thinking something maybe like in the box, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Something in the box,
Or we
Twitch
could do,
related, something like that.
yeah, for sure. I don't know. I had to ponder on that one. I think it would be cool if it was like, you know, if we made it 2020 art,
Ooh.
like make it like current events. There's so much going on. You can make virus art, you can make riot art, you could make
Yeah.
Twitch Bitcoin art.
I like that. I like that. Make it like 2020 themed. So,
Make it
right?
like like you make if it's a big murder hornet. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Teenage Mutant Murder Hornets.
Yeah,
They-
everybody's traumatized by everything that's happening right now. So
Oh, exactly. That's
people
what I mean.
need to work through that.
Yeah.
I agree. I think kind of putting it's almost kind of like, I don't know a good analogy. Putting a funny hat on the monster kind of thing.
Yeah.
Almost like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
think it'd be
understand what
cool,
you're
though,
saying.
if you had it.
It makes sense what you said. Putting a nice hat on a monster.
Yeah,
Giving Freddy
I mean,
Krueger a
everything's
makeover
so,
or something like that. Right.
yeah, I mean, everybody's so freaked out with everything right now, rightfully so, and I think there's a lot of cool art could come out of something like that, I think.
At least for artists, it'll definitely be an outlet. So for the people that are watching right now, I wish I could see chat, but I'm gonna screw up OBS if I do. Yeah, that 2020 theme sounds pretty good. So maybe they'll have a little bit of a heads up on it for anybody watching right now. But I say we announce it. We could, tomorrow's gonna be 4 months, Animal. Tomorrow's
That's crazy.
officially 4 months. Our first episode was February 2nd,
Damn.
and tomorrow is June 2nd. So that's 4 months we've been doing this gig for now, man. It's not bad.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Time flies, man. Good lord. That
Yeah.
means we've pretty much been in quarantine for almost 4 months. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I've been in quarantine for like the last 38 years. I don't leave my
Well,
house,
you
dude.
know. I hear you, man.
I mean, why would I? You see, I got the backyard, right?
I hear you.
I'm chilling. Like, I'm outside every day. Just
Chilling.
not outside.
Uh-huh.
And then I just,
Yeah, it's also like warm where you are. It's still
oh,
freaking cold here, dog.
dude,
I still got to put a jacket on to go outside.
dude, it's humid as fuck. Thank God my shirt isn't showing and it's black because I'm probably sweating like a mofo right now. But I'd rather be out
I'm
here than
freezing,
inside.
man.
Cause
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
art contest.
God, if I was in Miami, I'd be outside too.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I'm at the point where I do want to go inside because of the humidity. But at the same time, I rather be outside because I enjoy it out here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd be outside too. I will be in the next couple months. I'll be doing a lot of outside stuff once it starts not being ridiculously cold.
I hope we get that cold. Is it? I need to check. I haven't checked the weather. I haven't checked the news. Nothing. I've been playing video games and doing a little bit of CSS, and I think I'm finally ready to now jump into JavaScript. I'm gonna get started on it on the W3 schools. I think I'm gonna get started on it tomorrow. So Daniel, if you need any HTML freaking coders, bro, hit me up.
Oh, okay, great. I need to learn JavaScript too. I pretty much just need to work on everything. I'm been trying to only do C++, but I don't think that's gonna work.
We could
It
do
has its
W3s.
limitations.
We could do W3 schools together if you want.
Yeah.
I'm down to do that. I think I'll learn quicker if I got a master like yourself, even though you probably leave me in the dust.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'll let you know. I have to figure out how to. I mean, I pretty much know JavaScript, but I have to figure out how to what IDE I'm going to use, and
Get element by ID.
I yeah, oh yeah, I remember that one. I've read a book on JavaScript, but I don't have a lot of practical. It's been a long time since I've actually done anything.
Is it
with
published?
I don't.
The book?
No, I read a book on.
Oh, you read a. I thought you said you
Yeah,
wrote a book. I was like, you wrote a book, but
I thought he said wrote too.
No,
I
that's
totally thought he said wrote.
Sorry, no, I didn't.
He's
do
like,
that.
well, I did write a book on it, but I don't really know that much.
No. No, I just found a free JavaScript book and I read it at one point.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think Rod Serlon has been working on JavaScript as well. He did his own little Twitch client also. I think if you do $sign
Yeah.
meets, it goes like it only show. I mean, so we got Mason. That kind of is working on a just video client, so it only shows videos, YouTube videos that have been posted or Spotify or whatever. And then you got Retro Twitch. You have Rod Sirloins. I'm really excited to see what's gonna be coming down the pipes. So many independent Twitch clients. I think that's gonna be really, really interesting. Daniel, if you could make your own Twitch client, what features would you have in it?
I don't know. I really like Twitch the way it is. I mean, I guess.
Good answer.
I mean, I would incorporate Boost into it, but they're already doing that on Retro Twitch, so I don't even need to do anything. I just need to make the Boost service work better, make the tools better.
You know, I got to be honest. When I saw Josh Henley drop that Boost was being part of Retro Twitch, I really didn't think it would be long. Just a couple days before Twitch was going to start using it themselves.
Me too.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think I have not used it yet? Why is it not implemented?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there's still kind of a lot of there's some tools that need to be a little bit better, I think.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we
that's
want to
fair.
be able to do high difficulties, but yeah, I don't know what they're planning, but yeah, they could. It probably would be better just to start doing it now and try to get high difficulty later,
Right.
just to let people play around with it.
Yeah, even with the
But I
40
don't know what they're.
difficulty, that's not bad, and it's pretty cheap, so I think a lot of people would use it. Even at the highest difficulty, how
Yeah,
much is a 40 difficulty? Like 25 cents right now or something like that? I'm not even sure. I think the last time I did a 40 difficulty in Retro Touch was like 20 cents or something,
yeah,
which is not bad. I mean, the cool thing is, as long as you're showing proof of concept and having it in there as a feature, um, and that people, like you said, play around with it and kind of mess around with it and see how it could be used and kind of open it up to a broader amount of users, since there's close to what, 14,000 users on Twitch now. That's a nice amount of people that would get to see it in action.
yeah. It's really great that Joshua Hensley is using it, and it's just better to have some kind of interaction so that I know what he needs. We can refine it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna bail out now. I'm getting really sleepy, but thanks for having me on. And
As
well,
always.
we talked about really the most important topic in Bitcoin, but I've uh, I've been kind of frustrated because it seems like people don't want to talk about the theory of money very much because
Why do you think
so
that
many
is
people
though?
in Bitcoin are. Well, I think that it's a lot like the envy we were talking about earlier, because I think a lot of people in Bitcoin have had really bad ideas that they wanted to promote, and so they don't want people to think rationally about money because then nobody would buy what they're selling. So like, well, I've been telling people that altcoins are stupid for a long time, and um, of course nobody like very few people wanted to listen to that because you could make tons of money on altcoins.
Hmm.
But if you make altcoins, that's sort of getting in the way of Bitcoin becoming money because you're creating competitors, and really you'd be a lot better off just growing the Bitcoin economy. But that requires originality, so
What
people don't want to
I
do that.
Is there any coin, altcoin, whatever you, that has come close to what BSV could do that you know of?
No, I mean all of the altcoins are part of a cartel, and they exist to make dollars for people. So there's the people making the altcoins, and then there's the exchanges, and the
Hmm.
uh, they none of those people actually want any of their coins to win because that would ruin the altcoin mania. So what the exchanges want is lots and lots of different coins for people to speculate on, which doesn't really make sense because the only reason to speculate on any one of them is that it's going to become money as far as I'm concerned, but people want to speculate on them anyway, and they don't want one to win out. So and uh, well, Bitcoin is about the other people, and so if you've got one coin that's sort of working out, that's sort of doing things well, that's just going to attract all of the other people who are really thinking about how this works. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't really make sense. Like it just doesn't make sense to compete with Bitcoin and people who are purportedly competing with altcoins and Bitcoin Cash and Ethereum and BTC. They're not really trying to compete. Um, And well, we see this in the methods that they use. Like they're not trying to be better; they're trying to suppress BSV. They're and they're trying to distract everybody by saying Craig Wright is a fraud, which is actually irrelevant to the value of BSV. They're trying to make everybody wonder about trying to make cast aspersions on him and get everybody focused on that rather than talking about the theory of money, which is what actually matters. And they're they're not trying to be better. So anyone who is actually good would not want to compete with Bitcoin and would just want to join. They would want to compete within Bitcoin, not with another coin. And so to me, that's what's going on. And yeah, the Bitcoin BSV is designed to be something that can be money, and the other coins aren't trying to do that, and they're all influenced by core ideas. So they all think that block sizes need to be limited, or they're doing other things that won't work, like proof of stake
Mm.
or whatever Ethereum is doing. It's hard to go into everything with that, but they're all everything else is just a facade as far as I'm concerned, and that they're trying like um they're just they're they're pretending to make something that's like Bitcoin, but really they just want more dollars. So you
Mhm.
don't have something that's like Bitcoin at all.
Now, I
Interesting.
I know you said that they're trying to suppress Bitcoin. Do you mean like shadow banning, censoring people, not what do you mean by suppress? Because I've always felt like uh, BSV is being shadow banned. It is being censored in a certain way. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, and also trying to like discredit people or saying that people don't know what they're talking about. Well, that's the same thing. And um, trying to find ways of attacking people, just anything that's bad. Not they're not trying to be better. They're just trying to
they're
ruin.
trying to put
Um,
something down and lift themselves up.
yeah,
Essentially, what they're doing.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
another
Well, I
like
don't think
common
they're
sense
trying to lift
thing.
themselves up. They're just trying to put something else down.
Yeah, they don't really care. It doesn't
that
really
that
matter.
doesn't sound like a very good plan.
Yeah. Well, they're just like these people who don't like profits that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You definitely convinced me from being a Marxist to being a capitalist.
Oh, glad to hear that. Wasn't very hard.
No, no, it didn't take much
Yeah.
for one sentence. But hey,
Okay, well, anyway, thanks. Yeah, great to see you guys. Um,
Likewise, man.
see you around. Thanks for having me on.
as
Take care,
We
always,
talked
Daniel.
we
about the yeah, great to see you. Good
we
night.
we cannot wait to
Definitely. See
talk
you,
to you
man.
about the introduction of Bitcoin, brother. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. We appreciate you, Dan.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I can't wait either.
All right,
Good
brother.
night.
We'll talk to you soon.
Good night, man.
Yeah.
So, Animal.
That guy's a hoot.
I love that dude, man. He is so freaking cool.
I do too.
He is
That is
so
a
freaking
trip.
cool, dude. He always cracks me up, dude.
He is.
Um,
I know.
so yeah, so slight announcement. We're gonna be doing an art contest. Probably gonna be 2020. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's just a brainstorm idea, but I mean, I think there's a lot of cool content that could come out of it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Colorado
I think a lot of
Radio
I think a
Arts.
lot of people have a lot of like pent up kind of frustration and stuff. I think art kind of related to it would I don't know. I think it's just a relatable thing right now. Could be cool.
I love that idea. I love it. How about we end it on that? In the box live 24. You got any final thoughts?
Heck yeah, no, I'm just glad to be here, glad to be doing this thing, and just hope everybody stays safe out there. I don't know where you're all from, but no matter where you're at, I mean, globally, I mean, if it's not the virus, it's the rioters, and I mean everything else. So, just be careful out there, everybody. I mean, it's freaking nuts. I mean, I don't think anybody has ever seen anything like this. I mean, seriously, just consider this, right? We have straight up like mass protests and riots going on in pretty much every major city
Yeah,
in
that's
the entire nation
crazy, dude.
in in which they are recommending that you wear a mask. I mean, just isn't that insane? I mean, if you really think about that,
And but
like
Antifa wears
what
masks
riot?
anyway. I mean, they've been wearing masks.
Well, I know that's true.
But
That's true. But I mean, can you imagine though? Like that's never been a thing in history where
no.
the government like wants the rioters to wear masks. You know, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's fucking clown world
That's just,
for real.
yeah, it's just totally upside down. I mean, yeah, it's nuts, man. I've had a couple news channels I've been flipping back and forth on and just watching some footage kind of as we've been talking, and it's just it's a lot calmer than it was the other night, man. But I was watching a lot of live streams from Minneapolis and Atlanta and DC and Seattle, and I mean it's just crazy. I mean the stuff that you're seeing on the news is bad enough, but really when you get in there and you dig in and you find some of these like just nobodies that are out there live, that's where you're really seeing what's really going on. I mean, I totally watched. I was watching this one guy live, and he was trying to protect this like historical building, and he was just standing out front of it like his whole live video. And he was down the street from a bunch of different businesses, and there was a group of guys that were going down the street, just one building at a time, and just setting it on fire straight up. And like there was a Popeyes chicken like right next door to where he was filming, and you straight up see these guys like walk over and they kick the door in, they go inside, and you can see he mentions that they found a stack of styrofoam cups, right? Found styrofoam cups and threw it in one of the seats and then
Mm-hmm.
lit it up,
Yep.
burn that
Yep.
Popeyes to the ground.
Are
Next
you,
day I'm seeing on the news like, oh, they burned a Popeyes chicken. I'm like, damn, dude, I actually watched that happen. Like,
dude?
it's nuts, man.
That's what I don't get, dude. Like, why? Look, if
Oh, me either.
and I haven't seen the entire video. I saw it for the first time when Dookie was screen sharing, right, where the cop had
Yeah.
and that's fucked up. There's so many good
Oh, it's fucked
police
up, of
officers
course.
out there, and then this fucking
Yeah.
murderous, well, alleged murderous piece of
Oh yeah.
crap, dude, fucking ruins it. But what
No.
pisses me off is why don't they firebomb that police station instead then? Right? Why do they gotta go
Well,
target
dude, they did.
fucking Oh, they
You know
did.
that they did though,
No, I
right?
didn't know that.
They burned down the third precinct. Yeah, so that was the first thing that happened is they gathered around that third. Oh, this is yeah. I can't
Can
believe
you
you
give me
missed
the
this. So
skinny
what
on this
happened
right
was,
quick before we end it? Because I want to hear this. I have no clue. I've been out of
yeah, no, this is actually yeah, this was the thing that really I think honestly scared me the most, and the thing that I think really sparked off most of the riots around the nation. It kind of empowered the protesters and the rioters when this happened. So what happened was the protest sort of started and was centralized around the third precinct in Minneapolis, where that cop actually
Yeah,
worked.
which it
And
makes sense to me, right? And again, I
yeah,
haven't seen the whole
you get that.
story. But from what I've heard, that makes sense. All right, target the fucking precinct of
Yeah,
that
you get
murderous
that though,
piece of
right?
shit, right?
So what happened was the cops hold their ground for a while. The cops hold their ground for a while. They eventually retreat back into the precinct, and hold that ground for a while. And then all the while, these guys they're breaking down the windows and like trying to get in and all this stuff. Eventually, all the cops leave and fucking evacuate and go out the back door, and you see this line of cop cars like coming out. And the whole time they're just getting pelted with rocks and bricks and bottles, and the whole time they're coming out. And then, like, maybe not even 10 minutes later, after all the cops had evacuated, they breach the front door, they burn it to the ground. And that's really when it all really popped off. And that there was a reporter in there. There's a bunch of really scary live videos that came out of that moment and that what happened following that night. Um, but there was actually a reporter in there, and he was talking about and this was probably about an hour or so after they burned down the precinct. And this was when he was going around, and it was just totally chaos. If there was a vehicle, a store, anything that they could break or burn, it was getting broken and burned right there in that little neighborhood, right there, that little district.
See, if
And
they burn down the precinct,
and
like what? Why go after business? That's to me. That's what doesn't make sense. If you burn down the
right,
fucking precinct, you fucking got them
yeah,
got them to evacuate. You fucking destroyed the
yeah,
place. Why go after mom's
uh
and
huh,
pop's little fucking grocery store? Why go after a Popeye's chicken? Right?
right. Well, and I'll tell you what, kind of like a couple blocks down from that precinct, there's a bar called the Hexagon Bar, and that bar has been open as a music venue for like 80 years, and it was like pivotal in like the growth of like punk music back in the 80s, and like tons and tons of famous musicians have played there throughout the years, and they burned that motherfucker down,
Or what?
and
That's what I
and
don't get. What's the
for
whole
what?
fucking point
Right.
of that?
Right, and that thing is like that's straight Minneapolis culture right there. You know what I'm saying? Like burn down the police station. I get it. You
Yeah.
you deserve that.
Yeah.
But once it, and then there's videos of like there's this old man, and he's out there and he's screaming at the rioters and the protesters like, this is my shop, and why y'all got to burn down my stuff? I've
Yeah.
worked here my whole life, and blah blah blah. And it's like, man, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
Not to mention, like you got the guy in Dallas. This is the one that really got me, right? So in Dallas, you have a shop owner. Now, keep in mind, Dallas, like many other major cities, is a gun-free zone, right? Can't have a gun in New York, can't have a gun in LA,
In
can't have a gun
Dallas.
yeah,
For
yeah.
real? In Texas,
So
you can't have a fucking gun?
not in the city of Dallas.
That's
So
crazy.
from what I understand, that's just what I heard.
Mhm.
I haven't actually fact checked that myself, but I had heard somebody mention that, and this is the reason that this happened the way it did. So you have a guy who owns a shop who cannot have a gun there, and he's inside of his shop, and he's protecting his place, and rioters come, they break the windows down, and so what does he do? He grabs a fucking samurai sword, right? And tries to defend himself, right? Well, so they grab him, they disarm him, they drag him out in the street, and they beat the brakes off of him, and he leave him for dead. And the video is disturbing, man. He's laid there, and he's like when they finally like let him go, he's like his body's all contorted, he's laying there, there's blood everywhere,
Wow, dude.
and
That's
like
crazy, man.
and it actually spread around, kind of went viral, that this guy was dead, that they had killed him in the street. Well, anybody that did a little fact checking would find that that's not actually
Okay.
true. If you go and
Oh,
find any
thank
of the Twitter comments, there's videos of him being tended to by not paramedics, but just by kind of good Samaritan protesters out there, because there's no presence of anything like that out there. So but they fucked him up, man. There's this guy, he comes in with a skateboard and delivers like a blow to his head, that dude, oh my god, you could feel
That
it.
is fucking.
It's terrible.
That's disgusting. Like, where
It's
the whole
crazy.
protest is
Oh, it's
over a
terrible.
dude that got killed by police brutality,
Right.
and then you're gonna
And
protest
so you're
that
gonna
by trying
brutalize
to
people in the
fucking
street.
kill other people that had nothing to do with it, that
Right.
have probably never. They might not
Yeah.
even like cops. They might hate the cops just as much as they
Right.
do. And I heard they burned down a
Right.
church as well. I heard they defaced. I heard they
Oh, I'm sure.
fucked up the Lincoln Memorial. Did you hear about that?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I did hear about that. And honestly, like I don't think anybody can even keep up with everything that's destroyed right now. I mean, there's probably not an accurate count. Last I heard there was over 150 businesses and buildings that had been burned in Minneapolis. 150, dog.
That's insane, dude. And that's just
I
in
mean,
Minneapolis. That's not
that's
around the
freaking
country,
nuts,
right?
dude.
Because
No,
this is happening
yeah,
all
and it's
around the
like it's
country, I
really
guess.
bad. Like, and I was hearing like people were talking about there's like armed militias like mobilizing in Seattle and stuff like that. I mean, it's like it's on the brink of like a straight up war. And I think the best thing that I've seen a lot of video too of police officers like going up and saying like, look, we're throwing our batons down, we're going to march right with you, and we're going to be peaceful, and we're going to be a part of this because we agree with you.
Mhm.
Bad cops shouldn't be a
Yep.
part of this. They're a disgrace to the badge. um And I think that has actually worked more than anything else around the country. Like when you see that happening and you see the cops kneeling with the protesters and things like that, that's when like those cities are not getting burned. And I think that's why. Like when you have the police line, it just escalates the violence. And in a situation like that where everybody's heated anyway, all it takes is like a firecracker, one
Yeah.
little shot, and
Mhm.
then everything. Because what happens then is then and it happened in Roanoke, just like like an hour north of me. Everybody was peacefully protesting right outside of the police station. They had a wall of police
Mhm.
armed with batons and everything, which they probably could have done better. I understand why they do, but I think that when you kneel and you join them, it de-escalates situations. But so the cops are there and they peacefully protest outside for like an hour at least, right outside this place. Well, what happens? Some dickhead in the back row of the protesters lights an M80 firecracker
You're kidding me.
and tosses it into
To the
the
police.
cops. No, he throws it right at the line of cops. And so it freaking blows up, sends sparks flying everywhere, all in the line of cops. And guess what? Then next thing you know, cop gets on the loudspeaker and he says, this demonstration has officially been declared unlawful, and you have to disperse or you're going to jail. And then, so what happens then is they start advancing on the crowd, and people that say no get arrested, and that's when your fights break out. And so it's just a very like fragile situation in so many places. Like it's all peaceful and it's all fine and everybody wants it to be good until one person is an asshole and the cops start arresting people, and then everybody loses their fucking minds
Yeah.
and you have the cities burning. And so it's bad, man. It's
The
really, really
the
fragile.
the main three things that kind of caught my ear, like just really quick, like just from thumbnails, like I saw that a CNN person. I hate CNN with a passion. I got the CNN is fake news shirt, all that, right? But
Yeah.
they arrested a fucking journalist that was covering the
Oh
riots
yeah, I
on
saw that too.
CNN, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that? Like that's probably the only time I've
Right.
agreed with CNN in a very, very long time.
Yeah,
That
I've
was
heard.
an
Well, I'll tell you
unlawful arrest.
what was
Right on
crazy
TV.
too in Atlanta. In Atlanta, that was the first thing that they attacked. They gathered around the CNN building and tore the front doors down off the CNN building,
The
broke all the windows.
rioters?
Like first thing. Yeah, in Atlanta, like
No
first thing.
shit.
And that's
Wow.
when
I didn't hear
yeah,
that.
and that's when you had which really didn't make any sense to me. I was kind of like,
Yeah, that's their
everybody's out there
propaganda
saying like
outlet,
we got to
right?
go exactly, dude, and they're all out there saying, if we want to do this, like fuck Trump, we got to vote blue, and then they go and destroy a
Destroy the
CNN building. And I'm
biggest
like, I don't.
fucking blue media outlet there is. I didn't
Right,
hear about that.
exactly. And I'm like, yeah, I just don't understand. I watched that live too. I was really confused. I'm like, it was the only thing that had been touched in Atlanta. I mean, it was like right as soon as the protest started in Atlanta, they started around the CNN building and started breaking the windows.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like, damn,
insane.
dude, I don't understand that.
Yeah, that's insane, dude. I didn't get that. And I
And
saw
you had
one, I think I saw one where the girl was getting shot with rubber bullets, another CNN reporter.
yeah,
And then, yeah, I heard
yeah,
about the
and
Lincoln
then they had
Memorial, but I
you,
briefly heard about it. I haven't even seen
yeah,
what they did to it. And I heard about the church. That shit pissed me off that they burned down
yeah,
a church from like the 1800s, dude. What the fuck is that shit?
yeah, yeah.
Like, burn down a
It's just
fucking
stupid, man.
church
It doesn't make
because
any
a
sense.
cop fucking murdered somebody?
Right, right. And you got to think, man. George Floyd wouldn't have wanted any of this. I bet. I bet he's just. I bet he feels terrible. If he was alive, he would feel really terrible about. I mean, I really think so. I mean, I'm sure he didn't want this. He doesn't want. His death sparked the burning of our nation. I mean, that's
Literally.
terrible.
Literally.
Literally. Yeah. Exactly. And so, you had that video too of the woman who's like filming on her front porch in Minneapolis as the
Didn't see
riot
that.
police comes down the street. Yeah, and the riot police who's walking down the street, they say, "Get in your house, get in your house, get inside," whatever, and she just literally just stands there and keeps filming right there on the front porch. Next thing you know, one of these cops sort of gets to kind of the bottom of her driveway, I guess you could call it, and gets a little bit closer to her house and is like, get inside right now or whatever. She literally just stands there. Next thing you know, pop pop, couple rubber bullets come her
No
way,
way,
and
dude.
people are really yeah, and like and I don't know. I think a lot of people have a lot of varying opinions on that because first off, if you're on your porch, you're on your privacy,
Yep.
you're on your
Your
private
private
property,
property. They
and
can't even
even though it was
approach
actually
you if you tell them to leave. They cannot come on your property without a search warrant.
that's right, that's right, and they can't tell you to go inside of your
No,
house either.
no,
Um,
they can't.
so I, if from that perspective, it's wrong what the cop did. But on the other side of that coin, I would say that um, just a couple points on it. First off, Minneapolis was a fucking war zone at the time. There were hundreds of buildings burning, okay? And they're all out to get the cops, okay? So what does that tell you? That tells you that these cops are
Are
fucking terrified,
mm-hmm. That I
right?
understand.
They're
Yeah.
scared as hell, and they don't know if that person is on that porch just for the spectacle and they want to film, or if they're out there with a weapon and waiting for that opportune moment to pop one of these guys, right?
Yeah.
So I understand from that perspective why you have to be on a super high alert like that. And I think if you really watch the video, you can tell that that guy wasn't really aiming. Like those rubber bullets did not come anywhere near them. They're warning shots fired into the lawn. You know
Uh
what
huh.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a really again fragile, weird situation. You had Ti and I think his name Killer Mike, the
Yeah.
rappers.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard of them.
Um, but yeah, both Atlanta rappers, you know, and Ti came on this little press conference thing and came out and said, you know, Atlanta is a safe haven for black people. Atlanta is Wakanda, you know, don't destroy it. Like if there's any place that treats black people uh, as good as they possibly can, it's Atlanta. This is your home, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And which I thought was really a really awesome way to put that.
Yeah, I like that.
Uh,
And what I don't understand is
go
they're
out.
burning down all these businesses. You don't think at least one of those businesses belong to an, a a black business owner? You don't think none of these businesses
Well,
belong to
I
African
would say that
Americans?
I'm sure that a lot of them. I'm sure that a lot of them are, and I think a lot of people have said too that it's really important to realize that this is, and everybody's talking Black Lives Matter and making it a race thing, and it is a race thing to an extent, but that's not really the big point here. The big point is bad cops, right?
Correct.
That's what we're
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
agree.
We're not talking about straight up a white versus black race
At
war,
all, dude.
especially within our civil. No, it's not. So I think that it gets twisted a little bit and gets made about race more than it really should.
Yeah, especially
And I
when you
think
get
it just
the media uh
right.
freaking promoting it that it's all
Yeah.
based on race. But dude, white people get shot by cops, Hispanic people get shot by cops, Asian people get shot by cops.
Right.
It's like you said, it's a
Right. Right.
bad cop thing. I don't know why they always have to make it about race. To me, that's the most dumb thing that they could do.
Well, and it's just a perfect storm right now too. Everybody's pissed off and bored because of the quarantine, and then you have a white cop that kills a black man, and you know, perfect storm, dude. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's
yeah,
terrible.
that's
It's terrible.
pretty.
And I am in no means defending that cop because I think that's fucked up bad, and he needs to rot in prison as
I
well as the
agree.
other three cops who stood by and let it happen.
Yeah,
And
I agree,
and
100%.
so I fully support the movement. I just don't, and to an extent, I even kind of support looting and rioting in a way, only because I think that they want to prove the point that white people care more about well, not even white people, just that the government cares more about goods and services than they do human life. And I think that's a point that they're trying to get across by looting and riot. I mean, some of them, honestly, I would say that 90% of your looters are just opportunists
Yeah,
who
I
are
agree.
there to get go and get free electronics from Target
Yep,
because they know that they can get away with it.
I agree with that
Um,
100%. I heard they were stealing ATMs as well.
so that Oh yeah, dude. There's a picture of a guy that tried to get onto a fucking public bus dragging an entire ATM machine. It's insane, dude.
Wow, dude, I
That's a funny
re
ass picture.
like in a way I'm
It was,
glad I haven't watched any of these videos, but at the same time I wish I would have watched some of them. I don't know if I'm gonna watch Space Odyssey 2001 or if I'm just gonna spend some time watching these
Yeah.
YouTube videos. This is, I don't know. We were just
Honestly, man,
about to
I've
get
just been
out of fucking Corona lockdown, right?
right,
And then
right.
now,
Which
yes, like
honestly,
I'm
I
telling
think
you,
Corona lockdown is
anybody that
over.
was in Miami, all of a sudden I'm just here chilling in the backyard on the computer doing my thing, and all of a sudden, curfew 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. mandatory.
Yeah,
So
man.
we're about to get out of
Wow. So
lockdown,
yeah,
right?
you
And
guys actually do have a curfew.
yeah, we have a curfew
I guarantee
until further
that means that
notice.
there
It said,
definitely is shit going on. If you
dude, I
guys
have
have a
no clue.
curfew, that means there's definitely shit going
I
on.
have no fucking clue, but it would make sense. I mean, Miami is a fucking huge city, you know. But as far as the looting and rioting, I think when they burned down that precinct, I think that would have made enough noise, right? That would have gotten enough attention just by burning that down.
You
Why?
would think.
Yeah,
Oh, dude. So you have no idea what's going on in Miami right now?
dude, I have no clue. Zero clue.
Yeah, that's the shit. I'm just looking up a video here. You definitely need to be looking this up.
Can you screen share or no?
Cause yeah, maybe. Hold on.
All right, let me remove this scene and re-add it because it got stuck. I don't know if you guys, if there's anybody left in chat. I don't know if it's, yeah, it looks stuck here. Hold on. Remove the scene and put it back. Yeah, dude, that's insane.
I don't know if this is gonna work or not. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
I'm gonna look it up right now. Hold on, I'm trying to add the capture again because for some reason, there we go. Okay, let's see if it works.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if
No, for some reason this is
I'm
stuck.
sharing or
Send me the links and we'll probably go over it tomorrow if you want. Touch a little bit on it again.
yeah, that's fine. It's literally just like a little 7-minute video that I
and it's in
found
Miami, you said?
It says Miami protests start peacefully and turn violent as some demonstrators begin looting.
Miami.
But I'm just kind of looking at these crowds, dude. Yeah, they're burning cars and shit out there, man.
I wonder where that is.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Is it Miami
Yeah,
protests start peacefully, turn violent as some demonstrators begin looting? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's it. That's
Okay,
it, dude.
yeah, this is in downtown, I think. I don't know if you guys.
It is.
Protests around the country now hitting very close to home. The death of George Floyd at the hands of police prompting chaos on the streets of South Florida yesterday.
Hell?
Several squad cars in Miami set on fire.
That's going on around the corner.
That's the city of Miami right there.
Angry
City of Miami
demonstrators
police.
calling for justice.
What started as a peaceful protest
I gotta call my boy. He's a captain of the fire department. I gotta give him a call and ask.
Traffic by downtown in
Holy
both directions. Hundreds later, clashing with police.
I don't know if you can see this on my screen.
Officers responding
on the
by
screen.
dispersing tear gas. Some of our own local 10 reporters
Not on our.
getting stuck in the
It'll probably show on
cameras
YouTube.
catching apparent looters in the act, breaking into a jewelry store.
Oh,
The situation becoming
breaking
so
into a
tense
jewelry
and so
store.
dangerous. Some business owners taking matters into their own hands, standing outside with guns, protecting their businesses.
I don't blame
In
him.
Miami, there was an emergency.
I stand with all who see.
Laren and Nikki, that is Mayor Carlos
wow.
Jimenez issue a
154 Ave. That's right
overnight,
around
and
here.
Police
That's
did
a
make
little
arrests.
gang in my neighborhood. STV,
It
strict
began as a
lights to
peaceful
vandalize.
protest Saturday. Arrests.
154
Jimenez
boys.
issue a curfew.
Yeah, this is an old ass graffiti gang. Strict lights to vandalize. And then you have 154 Ave right here, which they're like literally 2 minutes from where I live, 154 Avenue. And then they got 152. So 152 is a rival to 154. Yeah, so they had 154 out there.
Overnight, and police did make arrests.
Holy shit.
It began as a peaceful protest Saturday afternoon at the Torch of Friendship in downtown Miami. Protesters marching
I'm
and
looking at
chanting
this right
throughout
now.
the
This is
streets.
insane.
Yeah, Miami's going up.
Crowd focus.
You see
This is what they want.
you see the burned
to
cars,
place themselves
burned cop cars and
strategically
shit?
so that
Yeah.
they can antagonize the
You
crowd.
will.
We're trying to keep the focus. We're trying to have a peaceful protest.
Disruptive at times when
Northwest
demonstrators
Second
crossed
Ave,
on
yeah, that's
downtown.
I-95, traffic gridlocked and officers
Holy
in
shit.
front of the Miami Police Department headquarters. Officers suiting up
Trying
in
to see
riot
if I
gear
recognize
using tear
anybody.
gas to control the crowd.
Oh shit.
Across the doors there. This coupled with a curfew, firing rubber bullets. Miami police cruisers were set on fire, and those that weren't charred to a crisp were vandalized.
It's nuts,
SWAT
dude.
teams
I've never
rolling
seen anything
in,
like
Miami
it.
police officers creating a human shield blocking the entrance to their headquarters.
Oh, they don't want to get burned down. They're blocking the entrance. Oh, he just got
Looters
shot.
seen on Sky 10 at Bayside
Yeah.
Marketplace.
Bayside.
Utter chaos until police came to the scene.
Oh yeah, rubber
curfew.
bullets going out, dude.
That's
Sending
what.
them.
And
Yeah,
this is
154
the
out. Damn,
last
they're giving them some
charred
publicity.
vehicle about to get towed here from the scene. And we've learned
They're
from
literally
Miami
2
police
minutes
that
from where I live.
17
Strictly
city of
vandalized
Miami
another
cruisers were
when they've been
vandalized
around
during these
for
protests.
20-odd years.
4 officers were injured. We also
people
know
are
that
here. STV.
demonstrators also were injured. That number.
Thank you, Sanella. The curfew.
I wonder how many
police
people
are
have
there and
died
just
because
started
of this. When this
weekend,
was
as
the
you
whole
mentioned,
thing
they were
was
shut
to
down
stop
for several
death,
months,
dude.
and we're here right now.
Protesting somebody
Yeah,
dying.
honestly, I don't know.
Just the damage
I was
also
wondering that
spreading to
myself.
Bayside
How many
Marketplace.
deaths is this really going to
To
cause?
break
I
into
don't
the
know.
business late
Once
Saturday,
the dust
Mayor
settles,
Carlos
I mean,
Jimenez
what's the body count? I mean, it's got to be
police
big.
appearing
Yeah,
And I
agree.
think this
one
is
man
actually
into
just
custody,
worse.
including we
I
did
mean,
hear from police
the thing is I haven't
time
seen any
ago. He
reports
says
of
about 600
anybody
pairs
actually. Well,
of
that's not true.
sunglasses,
I
many
know
of them
there is at least one cop
That
that was shot and killed,
that's incredible.
and so I don't know. I don't know how that panned out. You know, I mean, I can't imagine that somebody came out and shot and killed a cop and didn't also get shot and killed by cops.
Yeah, that's
so I don't
insane.
know. You know what I mean? I mean that's got to be at least 2, right? I don't know.
Yeah. If they would stop making this about race and just police brutality in general, I think something would have gotten accomplished a long time ago. If you want to see some really good videos on how the police act unlawfully, look up First Amendment audits. Search First Amendment audits, dude. You learn so much. Like what that cop did to you in front of your business. Like you could have refused to talk to him, right? And said, you know,
Oh,
am
sure.
am I being detained? Or, you know, do you suspect me of a crime? Blah blah blah. But
Oh,
it
absolutely.
is true.
Absolutely.
The first thing, my first opinion on it is cops need to go through a way more extensive training on the actual law. And they need to get trained on how to handle citizens correctly, the citizens that are paying their paycheck. Because a lot of these cops break the law every single day and they don't even realize it. They don't even know they're breaking the law. You know why? Because they don't know the law. So just teaching fucking cops how to drive a car and shoot a gun, right, is not enough. They need to learn. I bet you half these cops can't even fucking recite, you know, the Bill of Rights or whatever the case is, right? I bet you they don't even know the 25 amendments or whatever the case is, right? So that they need to go through a way tougher training process, you know.
Yeah. Well, and you know too, and I read an article about it too, just about accountability, right? So, like if you're a soldier in the military, there's mass amount of accountability that you constantly have to go through. Like, for instance, like if you're overseas or if you're in Iraq, let's say, if you're in Iraq and you're in a convoy and somebody shoots at that convoy, you actually don't even have the right to shoot them back until you're ordered to do so by a commanding officer. And then when that happens, that commanding officer still has to go through like mad paperwork explaining why he gave the order to shoot. And if you do shoot, you have to go through a stack of paperwork and go through a trial where you have to explain the situation and why you discharged your firearm. And you know, there's so many hoops that the military guys and the soldiers have to go through, you know, and they're trained to kill. But the cops don't have that accountability level at all.
Not
but
only that, they
like
don't know the fucking law, dude. They don't know the fucking law. Some of them do, and they choose to abuse it. Like again, look, you gotta if you want to see some amazing videos that you'd be like, damn. There's some people out there. I've learned so much. If you type in First Amendment audit, I haven't seen this one. This one looks guy. Police harass wrong black man. He's FBI, right?
cop, I almost give them too much. You know, I've
Yeah.
like, I try to be just like super respectful and super just, I don't know, man. I don't
Yeah,
even fucking
sometimes
risk it
when
most of the
when you
time. And I mean, you know,
I don't blame you. But sometimes when you have these tyrants like this guy right here that he's harassing this
right,
dude, he has no idea what he's talking about. He says, "Oh, I suspect you of having a warrant."
right.
Well, I'm telling you
That
I don't, and
that
you have no
you
right
better,
to go ahead.
and you got a computer. Look that shit up, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he doesn't
You
have to
know,
give
you
him
just look.
ID because suspicion of having a warrant
Right,
is not a crime. You know, that would be an excuse for any
right.
officer to go up to anybody and say, I suspect that you have a warrant. Let me see your ID. You don't have to present ID
Right,
unless you're being pulled over in a traffic stop, right? Or unless you're being detained or unless you're being
right.
arrested. So this dude right here, he knows exactly what he's talking about. I'm going to kind of mute out for a moment and just, if you want to listen to it just for like a
You
minute,
do.
he's going to own the fuck out of them right now.
Yeah.
So this
Do it.
cop right now is telling him that he's detained, right? And he's like, "Oh, really? What am I being detained for?" And then the cop tells him, "I'm detaining you because I suspect you have a warrant," right? And he's telling the cop, "Well, I'm telling you I don't have a warrant, and that's not a crime to suspect. You can't suspect somebody of having a warrant. You get what I'm saying?" So
Right.
I'm gonna play it
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
moment. You're probably gonna have a little bit of a delay, but we'll end it with this, and then we'll come back tomorrow.